Yeah, Adams the first time, right? And we've targeted guys like Des Schuster and things at this time, during this time. And, you go out to visit some junior colleges, you go out to see some high schools, and they're right in the middle of their season, so they're excited, and, they're playing well and things. And then you're obviously off to a great start, and that's, it's a national brand now. And Coach B has made it that, right? And there's a lot of our connections at other places are really kind of showing, and we're welcomed in with kind of open arms, which has been good. So, but there's definitely a buzz. I mean, guys know about Devin Witherspoon, right? We saw a corner, knew it's his favorite player, right? And then guys knew about Isaiah Adams, right? And the success that those guys have had, right? People were asking about, DB and Mario and Dez at Hutch, and so there's definitely a buzz going on, and people know that when they get developed here and they have a chance to go to the NFL, and but we're playing pretty good football as a team right now at 4-1, and every week we're trying to get better. So they feel that too. So it was good. It was productive. Sometimes it's crossing guys off the list. Sometimes it's adding guys to the list, right? And that was always kind of nice, and taking a little bit of breath. And now you don't have to stay up till 1 a.m. every night. So that helps too.
Not to take you back 2 weeks, what did the film tell you about the Penn State game?
We didn't play well enough, I think, collectively as a team. Now, credit to Penn State, they're a phenomenal team and a phenomenal defense. And, I don't think we underestimated them at all. I think we knew how good they were. They played very well. And it's the same type of story that happens to any team. But when you get down and you're forced into one playing one way, a team like that with Carter and the rest of those defensive guys, and Coach Allen's a phenomenal football coach, and so they just dialed things back, right? And that's when things kind of got away from us. But for most of the day, it was kind of a hard fought football game, right? We were two top 20 teams going at it, and of course everything's going to be made about the snap, and rightfully so. We own that. Josh owns that, and I own that, and if we push that in there, that's a different ball game. And I think everybody knows that. But not getting points there really hurts, and that's the thing that I think is most frustrating, and continues to add some hunger to our team right now. Is that, I think they know how good we could be if we play up to our potential, and then what happens any given Saturday in college football. Last weekend is a prime example. If you don't play at your very best, and so that was probably the biggest takeaway. Is we're a 4-1 team, and that's great, but there's so much more there. And I think any coach, any competitor, any player, the expectation has to continue to grow and be higher than that. And that it certainly is in our room. And I think that's where, I'm grateful that we're at 4-1, but at the same time, I'm kind of angry because I think we could be better than that. And I think so does most of our team and most of our coaching staff. So, to say that we're sitting back on our laurels and we're happy here, I think that's maybe a misunderstanding of where this program is at. We want more, and we've said that all along. And so continuing to try to push that and get those guys and the guys on our team to understand that, I think, is a big deal.
We've seen, obviously, moments where your line has played good, right? We've talked about that a lot, and then moments where there's struggles. What's been the consistency issue there, I guess, with getting that on a little more regular basis?
That's a good question. I think there's a variety of different things that show up. At times we've picked up movement really well. Look at Nebraska, and then other times we've kind of struggled with some movement. I think last week there was some of their talent combined with some of the movement was a challenge at times. And then some of our designs, the play designs, I call for the ball to get out, and sometimes they hand it off. And we got, we some awareness. I think we have to continue to work on our awareness. I think we have to continue to work on fundamental football, right? There's some things that you go back and do a massive self-scout of what has gone well, what has gone wrong, or maybe not as well, and what continues to be needs improvement. And that was the biggest thing for me for the bye week, was to take away stuff that we can continue to get better at, and then go back to a few things that have worked, and just look at fundamentals, look at the way things are with our feet and our steps, our aiming points are just the basic principles of the line play, and there's things that you kind of lose sight of in the middle of the fight, and then all of a sudden you go back and look at where maybe you lost your way. So that's probably the biggest thing, is just looking at some of that consistency with the fundamentals.
What has Kevin Wigginton showed you in the last couple? We saw him get some reps at Penn State.
Yeah, well, Kevin in the game has really flashed, and that's been the kind of the I guess the good thing is in the game, you're seeing a player that maybe you didn't anticipate playing at that high level based on his practices. So that's been my message to Kev. Kev's an awesome guy, awesome member of the team. We love him, and he's got some real talent, and a lot of his best football is still ahead of him, and he's got to continue to develop and really show that at practice, right, and earn those reps as they go, because the way he's played in games has been a kind of a bright spot, right, and but we got to see it at practice too, and so that's been my message with him.
And how have you seen how close is Brandon Henderson, I guess, to really continuing to push his way into those reps?
Pretty close. He had a really good bye week. Really good bye week. He took most of the reps at the bye week spot, and really has kind of impressed. So we're still pushing him along, bringing him along, but he's getting better and better every day. I'm excited for what lies ahead for him, certainly.
So I just want, the Kevin thing's so interesting, right? To have a difference like that. So how do you maybe navigate some of that as a coach, knowing what you see in a game versus obviously the consistency you guys want to see throughout the course of the week?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of your job as a coach, right, is to continue to bring that consistency along. And that was my messaging to him and guys like Josh Getsky and Zai, too. Zai practices really well. And then, there's times in the game where it's not as consistent, right, where Kevin's a little bit the other way around, and so, and then Behen is kind of a little bit of both, right? There are times he goes out and does some really good things in the game, and but then there's some times where he makes, he falls off a block in Nebraska and his guy makes the tackle, right? So things like that, but then you see him at practice. So it's just building that consistency, being the player you are every day, right? You can't, in my opinion, at the O-line position, you can't just be a gamer, right? You have to be able to build that continuity, build the trust in your team, build the accountability with your coaching staff, and then show what you can do so you get those opportunities and then take advantage of those opportunities. And so that's where we are, trying to get those guys to play more consistent, practice and play a little bit more consistent.